Hello, my name is Sophia Sunshine, and I want to talk to you today about late diagnosed autism in women, and specifically what causes someone to seek out a possible diagnosis later in life, events that may inform the individual, as well as some of what to expect starts to come down the pike personally. When a diagnosis arrives later in life. So what I'm going to share today, while I've done a ton of research, is really my own personal story. And the reason I'm sharing that is because I feel that our personal stories are a very important source of wisdom. There's tons of, psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, etc., like out there doing their work with children and now more so adults, and there is a lot of information that you can find that is based off of the observation of people and their behavior who fall on the spectrum. But more and more we're needing the actual inner experiences of those who are neurodivergent to come forward and to inform us as a culture about differences and needs and experiences from the inside out. And so that is why you're going to find a lot of my videos are specifically about sharing my own personal experience, because I trust that you have your own wisdom to share, and that's important to me. And I feel that our culture needs to go more in the direction of acknowledging that each person has authentic wisdom to share. And the more we give space to that, I think the more we're actually going to start to understand that we're actually not as different as we think we are. So, for me, it was trying to get along in life for, like I said, 47 years, working very hard to get along in life. And from the outside, I looked very successful. I looked very capable. I was a professional for a long time in the arts. I was very good at what I did. I present well. I can speak well. I'm a teacher. I'm a guide. Well informed about a lot of topics. But the internal experience was very different from the external experience. And I had to leave my career because of unidentified autistic burnout, as well as chronic illness that disabled me for quite a long time. It's still a battle, but that put me on a path of doing a lot of research and inquiry into all different healing modalities. And the reason I'm sharing this is because when you feel dis-ease in your body, and this is not just when it comes to someone being maybe neurodivergent, but this is what people of all different orientations are experiencing these days because of the fact that our culture is evolving so quickly, our society is evolving, technology is evolving, and we are still human. We are still natural beings. And yet, society has never actually made room for all the different types of beings out there. And now we're getting to a point where people are realizing that they can't keep living this way. And it's not really a matter of neurodiversity or neurotypical, or neurodivergence or neurotypical brain structures. It's really about individuality, because individuality is not something that is really supported in mass culture. They want you to be a number. So, but at some point we all, I hope, get a signal, right? And that signal may be that I can't keep doing what I'm doing, or this isn't working, or I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure what will make me happy or what feels good to me. And I got to a very strange point after changing my life so drastically in a variety of ways. I had my previous career. I went, which I loved. I was a full-time artist and teacher, but I also was really driven and trying to prove myself. And so I went through a very drastic autistic burnout. Didn't know that it was actually an autistic burnout. I just figured it was a burnout. And then I was plagued with chronic illness, and that was suffering. So we're all, when our suffering gets to an amplified level, then that's when we start searching for answers. And sometimes those are medical, sometimes those are psychological, sometimes those are spiritual, but they're all intertwined, right? So I went through years of healing, years of learning and studying and traveling, searching for a way to unravel the suffering that I was experiencing. And I made tremendous progress. I'll talk about some of that in other videos, because that is at the heart of what I feel is where my wisdom does come from, is these experiences. But I got to a point in my I'm now 47, but my mid 40s where I couldn't get past a certain level of discomfort, certain level of not understanding the world, how I fit into it, feeling estranged and confused about where I was supposed to go next with my life. And it didn't help that I had up and moved to an entire different location. I had started all over, but that was actually the catalyst that really woke me up to the fact that I couldn't keep operating on the old personas that I had been maintaining for the bulk of my life. Because as I started to reintegrate into life and started to try to look at work and community and socializing and making friends, I started running into all kinds of roadblocks with my nervous system. And this is an important signal when our nervous system communicates to us. And we're so used to overriding it. But at some point, and I think this is part of maturity, this is part of developing age. And for women especially, we're changing, right? Our hormones are changing. We're moving into perimenopause or menopause or whatever it might be. And all of a sudden, all the bandwidth that we had available to us at one point starts to run thin. And our adrenals are one of those primary areas. Our thyroid is one of those primary areas where we could just bully ourselves through life and situation and keep doing more and more. And we had that allowance available to us because of our youth. And then as things start to shift, what's also shifting is the allowance. And things don't really work the same way anymore. And all of a sudden, it feels like we have this barrage of sensitivities where we were already highly sensitive, but now it's on a whole different level. And so that is very much what I experienced. My sensitivities expanded, my bandwidth was reduced, my emotions were going all over the charts. I felt incapable of socializing. I wanted to just hide. I didn't know what I needed. I didn't know what would actually bring me joy again. And I felt like I really wasn't sure what to do. And after all the work I've done and all the life I've lived, that was a very distressful place to be. But when that arose, what also arose was my curiosity. And I remember having what I now understand was a meltdown after a tremendous amount of stressful events leading up to this time. And I had this meltdown, and it was so brutal that it just left me in a daze, and it left my nervous system, it left me shaking for 36 hours, and it just stripped me down. And anyone that has had a meltdown like that knows what I'm talking about, where something goes haywire in your system, and it's not even emotional, even though it looks emotional. It's something else. And at some point you recognize this is something else. And the question comes in as to, well, what is this? What just happened to me? And you're just wiped clean, and then you're in a state of shock. And here's the benefit to being in a state of shock, is that then you start to be able to be open to possibilities that you weren't open to previously. That's also when your intuition or your clairvoyance or another form of knowing can finally come in and give you something to work with. And that's what happened for me, is in that state of shock, I literally heard a voice. And the voice said, you need to look up late diagnosed autism in women. I didn't even know it was a thing. But it dropped in so clearly. And then I did what most of us do. I went in and I searched that. And next thing I knew, I was looking at these videos, maybe like you are now. And I was looking at a woman who looked so similar to me and sounded so similar to me. And she was talking about her own late diagnosis and the experiences of childhood, of getting along in life, of continuously trying to improve oneself, to not feeling like they fit in, to having social anxiety, to creativity, to hyper-focusing, to the list goes on, and we will talk more about those wonderful things at another time. But all of a sudden, the ahas started to drop in, but also another level of shock, because then you're standing on the edge of almost like an abyss of, well, what does all this mean? Now there's this entire new body of information that might actually apply to me, and I have no idea what it is or where to go or what to do or who to talk to, or what does this mean? Autism? At 47? And for some of you, you might be older, you might be younger, and that's where then that self-compassion obviously needs to come in. So I just want to take a moment, because if any of you are in that place, there's so many places on the journey, right, of life. There's so many invitations, and we spend a lot of time processing or avoiding or suppressing or trying to figure things out with our minds. But both for the version of myself that went through this previously and the bewildering feelings that opened up in me, that was like a chasm that I wasn't sure how to traverse, it brought a lot of grief and fear and questions and some feelings of inadequacy, or, oh no, what is this? Does this mean I'm disabled? Or maybe I haven't realized that in some ways I've been disabled for a long time, but at the same time I've been so capable, and what does all this mean? There's so many questions that arise. And so I'm not going to talk anymore about my own personal experience, but I'm just going to stop at this point, because when we're at that place of realizing that we're about to find out a whole lot more about ourselves, that this human journey we're on, and this applies to anyone. It's not just a late diagnosed autistic woman's experience. This is the experience of getting to know ourselves in this life. And so I just want to pay homage to wherever you are in that process, because it's a really beautiful process. And the reason it's beautiful is because it contains so much richness, and that it contains the moments of shock and the moments of awe, and it contains the moments of grief and the moments of relief. And even like when I listened to Rudy Simone's 22 Things You Need to Know About Your Asperger Girlfriend, and I was in shock because I'd never heard anybody describe me before and didn't know I was so unusual. It's like you can't describe to anyone the sense of renewed appreciation for one's story. So I hope that this inspires you to be curious about your own story. I hope that this invigorates you to learn from other people's stories and really spend time getting to know yourself. Because at the end of the day, this world needs people to know themselves, needs people to know who they are and to be their most authentic selves. So I hope that this little video just an intro is helpful to you. I'm not here to organize a lot of facts or deliver to you what I think you should do with your life or any of those things. I'm just here to share my own experiences, some of the wisdom I've gained in the process of living, and to hopefully spark in you curiosity, compassion, and permission to say yes to yourselves. So thanks for listening. If you liked this, it would be awesome if you subscribed. It's taken me years now to decide I'm going to share again after being an artist and for a long time, and just my own journey has taken me out of, in a way, the world, and I'm coming back out, and I look forward to connecting with many of you. So blessings on your journey, and I look forward to speaking with you more in the future. Have a great day. Bye.